Hello. That's better. Welcome, everyone, to the first official Sudden Valley Community Association Candidate Forum for the current election. Thank you for joining us here today. My name is Joanne, and I am the operations manager. So to those of you I have not yet met, it's good to meet you. And if you would like to speak with me after the forum, I will be here for that. You can also help me put the chairs back if you wanted to. My role here today is as moderator, and to begin our afternoon, I would like to briefly explain how we're going to run today's session. The candidates are seated in front of you in the order that they appear on the ballot. We have one exception, which is Nancy Alianak, who is attending online. And so when it's her turn to respond, she will unmute herself and we will hear her over the speakers, but she's not here in person. We're going to start this afternoon's presentation or forum really by asking each of the candidates to give us a 2-minute introduction, information that they would like to share with the community, and they will be timed for 2 minutes. After that initial 2-minute introduction, each candidate will draw randomly a question from the silver bowl. The questions in the bowl are prepared questions. They were put together by our communications committee. There are 8 questions, and so there are 2 copies of each of the questions in this bowl. So when the candidates draw randomly, we may hear only 4 questions twice. But it's up to the gods of randomization as to which questions each person will receive to respond to. The questions were provided to the candidates in advance, but they don't know what question they will be asked to respond to here in the forum today. During the introductions and during that first round of questions, we invite members who are in attendance in person or who are attending online to submit questions that they would like to have entered into the silver bowl for the 3rd round of questions. When you are submitting a question online or here in person, please start by giving us your name and your property address and then listing your question. We would ask that the questions be somewhat general in nature because you don't know who will be answering that question. So you can't address a question specifically to one of the candidates because they'll be drawing them randomly out of the bowl. And of course, if we have many people submit questions, all of the questions might not be answered here today. Because we have quite a few candidates and there will be time in between their 2 minutes, we anticipate that we'll have at least 3 rounds of responses. But if time allows, we will go for a 4th round of questions. Are there any questions? Excellent questions. We have forms up here and pens. So for those of you attending in person and you would like to submit a question, please submit them in writing so that they can be randomly selected. We have a timekeeper. We have a timekeeper with us today. Colleen Mitchell, or Colleen. I'm calling you Colleen Mitchell, but that's not your actual name. It is? Okay. AKA. Colleen is in the back as a timekeeper, and she will be waving her arm when it's 1-minute warning, and she will be dinging a bell at the 2-minute warning. So when you hear that bell, candidates, please be respectful of the time. You can finish the sentence that you're on when you hear the bell, but please don't continue past that. All right. To start us off, we have one candidate for the N&E committee, Gail Curello, who is here, and she will be given her 2 minutes to give us her introduction, and then we will begin on the program that I just outlined with our candidates for the board of directors. So, Gail.
Let me make sure. Sounds like it's working. My name is Gail Curello. I'm running for nominations and elections. My name is spelled Chiarello, so it's pronounced Curello like Chianti or architect, just for people who want to, get confused when they see all those letters. Okay, well, I grew up in upstate New York, near Rochester, New York, very close to Lake Ontario. I mean, I could walk to it every morning. And in the summer, the lake felt like another room in my house. I spent so much time in the lake. And that was actually what drew me here to Sudden Valley. I resolved that when I finally retired and had maybe saved up some money in my IRA and et cetera, I would move to a place where I could swim every day. And that has happened. That was my one non-negotiable point and finding a house. But I thought about, so what do people want to know about us? People who don't know us at all. So I'll just say I grew up on the East Coast. In my 20s, I was pursuing a career as a writer and a poet, and had some small amount of success in that realm. I lived in the same house with Allen Ginsberg. That was a mixed bag. I worked at City Lights for a few years. I edited the first book of Charles Bukowski's short stories. But despite all of that excitement and turmoil, in my best year, I made $900 from my writing. So I realized it was probably not going to work out for me. And I actually went back to UC Berkeley and got a master's degree in city planning. After I got that degree, I celebrated by taking wow, is it over? That was 2 minutes? Whoa, I should have timed this. Did I have like a half minute more? Just to quickly say, I'm running for NNE because I think, first of all, I want to contribute. I don't want to just be a complainer or a commenter. I want to, do some of the work. And I feel it's really important in that NNE role to be a very strong neutral, to be very fair and even-handed. So thank you very much. Sorry, I ran over.
Okay, so as we experience 2 minutes, feels like an eternity if you're holding your breath, and not at all very long if you're expelling your breath. Our candidates are seated, as I said, in ballot order, and we are going to proceed in ballot order from left to right. Andy, your introduction.
Hi, my name is Andy Glover. I am running for the board. I work at a large processor company on the website. And one of my main concerns with wanting to be on the board is wanting to chair the communications committee and make huge improvements to our website. I have a plan on how to do that is realistic and workable, and I'm going way too fast. Anyway, we recently moved here from Texas. We just really wanted to be here. We built a house here, and we're going to be here basically until I die. It's my wife, me, my 3 boys, and we're going to be basically around here forever, and we'd like to help make this community a better place. Gail, you really scared me, and so I went too fast, and I don't even know how to kind of waste y'all's time here. So I'm just going to cede my time.
Thank you, Andy. By the way, candidates, the timing starts with your first word. So don't feel like if you're fumbling with the microphone that's somehow being held against you.
Hi, I'm Stu Mitchell. First, I want to dispel a rumor. I am the one who invited the entire community and the board candidates to the informal meet and greets. When I do or say something, I take ownership of it. And so I'm taking ownership of disseminating the information. There was a lot of chatter on Facebook about it, a lot of people accusing other people of doing it. It was me. I asked the community to come out. Why did I do that? Because I went to 2 meet and greets put on by other board candidates, and I had a good time. I enjoyed talking to the community. Unfortunately, they had to discontinue theirs, so I looked at a way to try to get more community involvement. So we're trying to get the entire community out there. So quickly, who is Stu Mitchell? Well, I was born in Seattle, University of Washington, grew up in Redmond, pre-Microsoft. I basically grew up in poverty. I've been working since I was 15 years old. I moved out of my mother's house when I was 16. I have only been unemployed in my entire life for approximately 2 months. And that's when I was trying to get into college, and my beautiful wife and I were living in a one-room shack in Snohomish County. I've managed businesses since I was 18 years old. I've worked full-time through all of my college degrees, which is 2 community colleges, 3 at the University of Washington. I can tell you something about managing people's money. It comes with a lot of responsibility. I've been doing it for about 20 to 25 years. I know what fiduciary responsibility means. So instead of, pointing fingers, stereotyping me, calling me entitled because of the neighborhood I live in, which, by the way, I live in Gate 1, 38 Longshore Lane. Come talk to me. I'd love to hear everybody's opinion, see what you're all about. I'm happy to have discussions with you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is AJ Tischletter. I am a civil engineer. I work for Whatcom County. I'm a project manager dealing with large capital road and drainage infrastructure projects. I've been on the board now for 3 years, and I'm running for re-election. And I'd like to continue to see a lot of the good work continue to happen, a lot of the projects that we got going on continuing to move forward. And my time on the board, I've been on the long range planning committee chairing that, and we spent some time doing strategic planning, doing a community-wide survey. With the information we gathered from that, we established new mission and vision and core values for the community, and I'm hoping to continue to work on that and continue to move the community planning aspect of the board of directors role forward.
My name is Linda Bradley. I've lived in the Valley since 1996, still in the same little house. I'm now by myself. My daughter has a property here. My son lives on Maui. Lucky guy. I've always stayed active in the community. The first time I ever was active, I worked for the association. I did accounts payable for a couple of years. In 2012 and 13, I served on the board. I was treasurer during that time. In 2015, and it all blurs together now, but almost continually since then, I've served on the N&E committee, and I've been chair for several years. And I just hope if I'm elected, I can continue to work for the community.
Hi, my name is Morgan Levy. I am currently on the board as an appointee, and I'm looking forward to serving as an elected board member. I grew up in a small beach town, and my parents were extremely active in our community. They were active in local politics. I currently work at the Bellingham Police Department, and my work is dedicated to public service. So serving the community here in Sudden Valley comes natural to me, and it is something that I am so far very much enjoying and look forward to doing more of. I believe in the work of the current board, and I see what their plan is, and I think that the community will benefit, and I will work with them to continue the great work that they have done. I listen to people, I take their concerns, and I will represent the board to you and you to the board. That is my commitment.
Hello? Is it working? I'm gonna read mine. Hi, I'm Asia. So I'm nervous. Originally from Southern California, I moved to Sudden Valley in 2019. From Arizona with my husband and 2 children. From the serenity of the valley and the amazing sense of community, we fell in love with the area. Raising 2 boys and 3 pets, we've made it our home. We love the marina, the dog park, the gym, the pool, the golf course, the amenities. Which is the main reason I'm wanting to join. Because of all Sudden Valley has to offer, I see potential to come closer together as a community with celebrations, events, vendors centered around bringing friends and family together. I want to help utilize our amenities and build a community that we and our children love, strengthening the connection that makes where we live so special. I thought through the possibility of serving this community, and it boiled down to 3 key areas: the importance of listening and being open to feedback, the vision to see our potential, and finally the passion and hard work to see that vision become a reality. With 20 years of administrative assistant experience, I bring a level of organizational excellence that'll shine through planned event meetings, keeping our community informed and engaged. I have excellent communication skills, written, verbal, and creating marketing collateral. To add, I have excellent time management, problem-solving skills, as well as teamwork, management, and resourcefulness. I hope to create and encourage more community interaction, transparency, create a board that creates member and staff longevity, and fiscal responsibility for a stronger, more prosperous community.
Okay. Hello, can you hear me? Hi, my name is Tara Devoe, and I am running for the board. And if elected, I'm looking forward to working harmoniously with the board members and volunteers, as well as the management team in an effort to make Sudden Valley a great place to live for all. I've been in education for 29 years. I have worked in various districts and held various positions as an administrator, a teacher, and now a school counselor. I believe my work in education in the various committees I have been a part of will carry over to working collaboratively with all of the elected board members. I value different viewpoints in order to come up with the best solution for whatever is presented that needs to be solved. I moved here in 2015 with my son, and then I met my husband. Sudden Valley is my home. I love living among nature, and I want to see it thrive. I have served on the communications committee and helped to start the Bite of Sudden Valley that we ran for 2 years. And I want to bring something back now that COVID's over for the people to enjoy. There was music and food trucks, and it was great. The goals for the community that I have are preservation of community assets, listening to community members and their input, community participation in bringing back community in-person events, fiscal responsibility, figuring out where we are at financially and how to maintain going forward. I believe in working in a budget, and transparency is key. Staffing issues, figuring out how to bring back more staff to run our community efficiently. If your goals align with mine and you're ready to see positive change in the community in 2023, please vote for me. Thank you.
Lori, we're gonna go to Nancy. She's next on the ballot. Nancy?
Hi, my name's Nancy Alionak. I'm a professional geologist. I had nearly a 40-year career before retiring, first with a multinational and then with a small financial firm. I moved here in 2006 when I retired with my husband, who's also a geologist. And we liked the area, we liked the trees, we liked seeing rocks, since we mostly spent our career in places where you don't see outcrops. I'm currently entity chair.
Oh, you muted yourself, Nancy.
Okay, this pink envelope was a surprise to me too. There's a story on how it got there, but I'm not taking up my 2 minutes to tell it. So my interest is in money. Where it comes from, and where it goes and how that is decided. And my goal is to work with the board that we have and continue their progress in getting Sudden Valley on solid footing. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Kate Quigg, who is also participating online. Kate, can you unmute and begin your 2-minute introduction?
Hello, I'm Kate Quigg. I live in 36 North Point Drive in Gate 1. And we came here 2 years ago. We didn't see the house before we bought it. Tried to get some other houses and some different gates, but ended up in this one just at the last minute. We feel privileged to be here. We've been here for 2 years. I retired from property management of 25 years in Kona, Hawaii. Before we moved here, I read the bylaws and the covenants, and being in property management, very familiar with them. And I felt like that when it was on my heart that when we moved here, that I would volunteer for being on the board. When we got here, I was busy closing up some family business, but this year, being retired and having the time, I volunteered. I hope to bring to the board a sense of community, find common ground, better the place that we live in, that we call home, to the best of our abilities, and to look forward to becoming more of a part of this community. I thank you for considering me for being on the board. Aloha.
Thank you. And now Lori.
Hi, my name is Lori Robinson. I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area of California. I moved to Monterey after I graduated from high school to attend school there, college there, where I met my husband 34 years ago. And we started a family, got married, started a family. We lived in North Los Angeles County. In about 1998, my parents had purchased a condo up here in Sudden Valley and said as soon as one of their children will move up here, they would sell their house I grew up in and build a house up here. So about 5 years later, in 2004, we moved up here with our 2 kids. They sold their house, they built their house, and we've lived here ever since. During my professional career, I was director of operations for a healthcare finance company down in Los Angeles. And then since we've moved up here to Washington, I have been the controller of a small startup real estate company and also personnel. So I was human resource and controller for 6 employees when I started. When I left the company and I retired in 2018, they had over 600 employees. At that time we went public. I gave up my role as the controller and just took on human resources. I did retire in 2018, and this valley is my home. This is where my kids grew up. They love it. My son has friends still that he met when he was 8 years old when he moved here, and he's 27, and this valley is still part of them. So my goal on the board of directors is to bring that love of the valley to or back to many of the residents here so that we can grow and be one of the greatest homeowners associations in the state of Washington.
Since we have 2 candidates online, I will be drawing their selected questions. And after a candidate picks their question, we'll go all the way down. Of course, you can open it and read it, but please, when it's your turn to respond, please read the question first so that the members who are attending know to what question you are responding. So if audience members, either online or here, would like to submit a question, we have the forms up here. Please take a minute to come and grab one, fill it out, and drop it in the bowl. Online? Online. Anyone who would like to submit a question online should do so in Q&A. Now I'm going to tell you again, please, if you're online, start by telling us your name and your property address, and then your question so that we can record that on the page or on the little slip of paper that goes into the silver bowl. Thanks. All right.
I got the magic wand question. If I had a magic wand I could use 3 times only, what changes or improvements would I make for Sudden Valley? Depending on how powerful this wand is, the first wave of my wand, I would resurface all of our roads in the community, except for Cascade. I think another one, I know Cascade is just beautiful and it does not need resurfacing. It would be kind of a waste of its power to do it twice. The second wave would be to remove all the phosphorus from Lake Whatcom. That seems like a big one. And the third, if it has the power, I would just make Facebook and Nextdoor cease to exist, because social media drives vision and unhappiness. They have found, they've done studies that say that if you cease using social media, in general, you are happy. And I think that would be great for the world and not just Sudden Valley, but it would also be really good for Sudden Valley. If that the wand is just not powerful to do anything outside of our circle, I would probably, wave it, and I would take care of all hazard trees and ground fuels on all of our commonly owned property in the green space, because that seems like a good thing to do. It'd be like, one wave. Unfortunately, nobody has those powers, no kind of wand like that. But those are some of my priorities and some of the things I care about in the community.
My question is, what, if any, changes might you encourage to enhance the reach and effectiveness of communication efforts in Sudden Valley? Andy and I should have switched. Well, first of all, what really needs to happen is the entire community as a whole, just in general, need to listen to other people. Listen to your neighbors, comprehend, respect what people's opinions are. Things like The View and eBlast, they should be nonpartisan sources of information. They should not be used for political propaganda, if you want to call it that. I would increase information by using the emails and eBlast. Like several years ago when we first moved here, I mean, we were getting notices all the time when we first moved here. Maybe weekly, bi-weekly information, probably a little too much. I realize all of these things require a lot of staff resources to do, but we need to figure out a way to increase the communication in this. I personally believe that editorial staff really shouldn't be members of Sudden Valley, and if they are, they shouldn't be running for the board, because the appearance is that they're biased. They may not be, they may be perfectly normal, but the appearance is that they're biased, and that drives division. I don't think the board should really dictate or control what information is disseminated to the community. They, of course, have their information they have to send out. But the newspaper and the media should actually determine how it's disseminated and what other sources of information should be in there. In my experience, it's always bad to have a board director interact directly with staff. Typically, a way an organization is structured is you have a management team that runs the organization. They report to the board. The board provides oversight and governance. Or what that means varies depending on the organization.
All right. So my question is, if you had a magic wand you could use 3 times only, what changes or improvements would you make for Sudden Valley? As a civil engineer and someone whose career is devoted to transportation infrastructure, I would have to agree with Andy. I think we made some good progress this summer, reconstructing several roads that had deteriorated well past the point of simple pavement repairs. So it'd be nice to continue to accomplish that work. And then put in place a pavement preservation program that so we don't have to rebuild our roads in the future, and we can just continue to do minor overlay projects to preserve the pavement. I think if I could make other improvements for Sudden Valley, I'd really like to see the continuation of a lot of our assets to be maintained. I know there's, work to be done on this barn still, that barn, across the courtyard. Like to see some of those repairs get finalized and get put in place. And a third thing would be to I think I'd like to, put one thing we've been working on over time is an upgrade to the website and getting a more functional website in place that the community finds easier to navigate to the information that they're.
Thank you. So as a reminder to candidates, please tell the audience your name too, so that they have repetition of that, because not everyone can remember everyone's name.
Hi, my name's Linda Bradley. Question I have is, do you think that the public use of our amenities, roads, beaches, marina, pools, gym, etc., has been problematic or could be? If so, how and what are your ideas for mitigating the challenge? I think originally when we opened things up, it wasn't such a big deal. In the last, I would say 3 years, it definitely has become an issue, especially with the small. I want to refer to particularly AM/PM Park. While the gym and the pools and stuff have a limit to the number of people who can use it, the AM/PM Beach doesn't. This last summer, they put markings on the grass. I don't think that's the answer, to put additional cars out there on the grass. It doesn't detract from the fact that it's a small beach area, and it doesn't preserve that at all. If anything, it only helps to overuse that area. There's a gate down there, and the last time somebody showed me a picture, it was broken. Maybe it's time to invest in a gate again and give members that live here that want to use that beach cards to use the gate, and that way it limits use.
Hi, my name is Morgan Levy, running for the board of directors. My question is the fun question. When you are a board of director, how might you approach building more collaboration and consensus, both on the board of directors and in the community? First, let me say, I think there is more consensus here than people believe. Honestly, talking to people, we all have the same concerns. We are concerned with the natural beauty of Sudden Valley. It is what brought us here. It's why I have a home here, and my home is not an investment. It's where I live. I hear that universally, that people care. They care about the trails, they care about the parks, they care about the pools, and they care about what they can do in our natural environment. That is something I would like to see through a nature plan, interpretive nature plan, connecting the parks and trails with interpretive information to let people know what we have here as is a resource. It's beautiful. And when we share in that environment, we share our common dream, which is living in this beautiful spot. I don't think that we are as divided as you might think we are when you look online or anywhere else. The board of directors typically have unanimous votes. Every time I have voted as board of directors, we have a unanimous vote. Maybe once there was one person. So the board is united. I think the community is united in our love for Sudden Valley and the natural surroundings it provides and our desire to protect it and keep it as lush and beautiful as possible.
Okay, Asia Andrade, what do you see as some of the primary core challenges that Sudden Valley faces as an HOA? First off, I think lack of communication, which leads to, dare I say, transparency again. And maybe that's just a lag in response time to emails being sent in or phone calls. I think if people just even got a response, we received said email, we'll get back to you. It'll alleviate a lot of members' frustration just with communication. On the same end of that, it'd be nice to have a better calendar, e-blast, text notification, a place where we can get the information. Lack of community interaction, events, activities. I heard we used to have a jazz fest, large social gatherings, weddings in this barn. I don't know, bring it back. High turnover rates and fiscal accountability. Or so we believe, but again, maybe that's just from lack of communication. I don't know. But thank you.
Hi, I'm Tara Devoe. My question is, what natural place or natural resource in Sudden Valley are important to you? And what are your recommendations for priorities for natural resource management in the future? I love all of Sudden Valley. I moved here because it was in the woods on water and it had a golf course. It was just perfect. And I love all of the wild animals. And so some of the things for maintaining it is one of the things I'd like to see, which goes for animals and for our kids, is speed bumps on all our main roads, because people speed sometimes 50, 60 miles an hour. I live on Windward and my son has almost been hit when he takes the dog out. So one for that, just because I know deer get hit. So the wildlife. And then I agree with Linda on the use of AMPM Beach and just the use of our resources by outsiders. Coming up with a plan, whether we put gates back on gate 1 and gate 2 and all of the entrances so people can't come in and use our trails without a use fee, and which would in turn have revenue. But I do definitely think that with the amount of people using our parks and trails now, that it is having an impact. The other thing, and I thought about, and I don't know the legality of this or what we could do it, is there's a lot of new homes going up and a lot of forest coming down. And it makes me sad every time I see a lot being cleared, because I just feel like in 10 years, what's going to be left of our forest? And so I don't know if we can do a halt on new homes being built for 5 years and just reserve our forests and the natural beauty around us. Maybe I'm dreaming there. And then the other thing is that we need to look at all the rotten trees that are around and getting the removal of rotten trees that are endangering the homes that do exist so they don't fall on them. And coming up with a laid out plan to go through the community and have people report trees that need removed.
Okay. We're going to go to Nancy Alionak next.
Hi, I'm Nancy Alionak, and I live at 4 Sandalwood Circle. It's in gate 3, kind of at the top of the hill. My question is, have you ever served on a board of directors before? Yes, I'm on one for the past year, non-voting, because I am in any nominations and elections committee chair. And all I can say is good luck, Gail, for next year. The second part is, What do you believe you need to learn about to serve our community most effectively? I want to learn more about the Lake Whatcom Overlay District regulations, because those are pretty strong and the county pretty much doesn't enforce what they have. And I suspect we can at least find contractors who aren't following the county regulations. And yes, I'm concerned about trees and clear-cut lots. And I want to give you an example. In the Whatcom Overlay District, there is such a thing as a root protection zone that goes on around any tree that remains, plus trees that are on adjacent lots that canopies count towards the tree removal. Yes, the tree on your lot allows the guy next door to cut more if he's a builder. But you're entitled to these root protection zones, which are based on the diameter of the tree. They generally go out for about a 10-foot radius around the tree, and you notice them when they're in place. There's an orange plastic fence that's about 3 feet high. And the only place I've ever seen one is on the lot next to me and the one next to that, because I informed the builder I would report him to the county, and he apparently decided.
Nancy, that's time. Thank you. Next up is Kate. Kate, could you introduce yourself, read your question, and respond, please?
Yes, I can. Deborah Kate Quigg. My question is, do you think that public use of our amenities, including roads, beaches, marinas, pools, gym, etc., has been problematic? Or could it be? Or if so, what are your ideas for mitigating the challenge? I'm sure that each one of these items has their own challenges, and each one would need to be addressed individually. I know on the roads, because they're narrow, it's difficult for people to walk alongside them since there isn't sidewalks, but we all hopefully give way to walkers that are walking along the roads. I'm concerned about the public use as far as the speed limit goes. I also have seen the speed limit not paid attention to. And I know that it becomes a problem, especially during the summer, for parking for the beaches. As far as the marina goes, I think it's a great amenity. I hope that who gets to use the marina boat slips and the parking areas are first given to the owners as a amenity that they can have a special preference for. I hope that is also concerning the pools and the gym. My ideas for mitigating the problem, I think each would need to be addressed individually. I think it would be good for the community to give their ideas, and then for the board to discuss what might be able to be done to take care of the challenge. I thank you for this opportunity to speak, and I'll give it back to you. Aloha.
Hi, I'm Lori Robinson. And first I would like to say we all received these questions earlier this week, and I have a printout of all of my answers for all of the questions if you'd like to pick one up, and maybe some of the other candidates have handouts back there as well. So just wanted to let you know that. My question is, what, if any, changes might you encourage to enhance the reach and effectiveness of communication efforts in Sudden Valley? I would encourage the use of all methods, including publishing board and committee minutes on the website in a timely manner, publishing information in the views, keeping our website updated and current, and use of e-blasts. All of these methods have been used effectively in the past. but without consistency. We need to see consistency. Facebook is also an avenue. We should establish a board of directors Facebook page, which is open to all community members to raise concerns, start discussions, or ask questions of our board members. It should be monitored, and community comments should be addressed in a professional manner without the use of inappropriate words, personal attacks, or sarcasm.
Thank you. That was our first round of questions, which again were created by the Communications Committee. At this time, I'd like to ask if there were any questions submitted online. We do have 2 questions from online and one question from attendees here in person. Are there any additional questions that people would like to submit? Yes, no? I'm going to give the candidates a little bit of a breather while we get our questions sorted. Crowdsource answer. I'm going to fill in the gap with more of our Communications Committee questions. Do you? Did you submit some already? Awesome. So 4 questions have been submitted by members. I'm going to put those 4 questions into the bowl, and I'm going to add the remaining questions that were left over. After that point, we'll put these 4 questions back in the bowl, if that makes any sense to people, so that these questions also get the opportunity to be answered by 2 people. These 2 questions are for our candidates who are online. All right, we are ready to begin round 2 of questions.
The question I received, Andy Glover, by the way, the question I received was, what natural place or natural resource in Sudden Valley is important to me? And what are my recommendations for priorities for natural resource management in the future? To me, it kind of goes back to my magic wand question. The green spaces that we have, the trees that are on them, that's the thing that I appreciate most and I'm most concerned about. With all the limbs that have fallen over the many years that have gone on, with all the hazardous trees that are out there, it's concerning to me. And it was one of my first priorities when we actually moved in, was to go stomping around on the empty lots next to us that are Sun Valley property and clear out the ground fuels from there to put them by the road fire wise. Just to go out there and take care of stuff that could be a hazard later, especially as temperatures rise, summers are drier, and as you know, the risk of wildfires increase. It's really something that concerns me and something that literally starts at home. It just takes a pair of garden gloves, maybe a little hand saw, and a lot of sweat to go drag it around to the curb where they're going to get picked up. I think Firewise is a fantastic program, and it's something that we can all just personally get involved with, which is really important in our community.
Stu Mitchell, the question I have is, name 3 things you feel you would really like to accomplish as a board director at SPCA. Well, the first thing I'd really like to accomplish is establishing a board where diversity, community involvement, opinions are welcomed, people are listened to and considered. A board that respects the community, the volunteers, and the committees. I would like to increase communications, have open meetings. Then we need to start reestablishing communities. With the meet and greets that we've gone to, up to several community members that were on a committee, the committees were shut down, they were frustrated, they didn't know why. So I think this community really wants to be involved and help maintain the committees or maintain the community and help make the community better. So you do that through committees. I think it's pretty straightforward. The final thing that I would really like to accomplish is figure out a way to make the entire community feel as though the amenities are there for them to use. You see this chatter on Facebook all the time, and I actually don't actively, I guess I'm more of a Facebook monitor than a participant. You see people indicating that they don't feel they have a right to use some of the amenities. The amenities are here for everybody. And they're included in our dues. Some of the amenities that people that use them have to pay extra for doing that privilege, like the Frisbee golf, the marina, the golf course. People that use them pay extra for them. But you know, they're there for everybody. And figure out a way to get more community involvement, get communities where they feel they can use those amenities and take advantage of them.
My name's AJ Tischletter. My question is, what do you see as some of the primary core challenges that Sun Valley faces as an HOA? I think outside externalities are something that's going to challenge Sun Valley as an HOA, the Lake Whatcom and the watershed overlay district, that and all of the TMDL requirements that go with the phosphorus loading that's happening in Lake Whatcom creates a situation where projects that Sun Valley does in the watershed are going to just see some increased costs and maintenance stuff moving into the future due to stormwater mitigation and things like that that will be required. And so, you know, that stuff comes straight down from the Clean Water Act with the federal government, you know, through the state and the county. So I think, you know, that's a core challenge that we're going to face in trying to find places where we can do effective stormwater mitigation for when we do need to rebuild some of the roads that are not in great shape. And then I think another core challenge that the community faces is I think it's, you know, just yeah, finding a way to be, um, civil about things. There's a lot of discord that goes around, and it creates kind of a toxic environment for people to try to work in. And it's not the most effective um, for the community. And so I think, people need to make an effort to try to come together and try and meet common ground and try to not be the offensive or defensive all the time.
My name's Linda Bradley, and my question is, how can the community expand lakeshore access? AM PM has less than the dog park. That's a tough question. And my initial answer from the years that I've lived in the valley, the 2 swimming areas that we are granted every year, and I believe we pay a fee to have. I don't know that we would be allowed by the Department of Natural Resources to expand or enlarge our areas quite a bit. A lot of our shoreline that isn't accessed now is really steep, and sometimes that's people's property and there's just a small area along the shoreline. I agree it'd be nice, but I know that the county is extremely protective of the water. I don't know how many of you have lived here very long, but years ago, they thought about taking all the boats off the lake, period. And it's like, for us to say we want to allow people to use it, I don't know. I think that would be a tough question for the county.
Hi, my name's Morgan Libby. I have the question, have you ever served on a board of directors before? What do you believe you need to learn about to serve our community most effectively? I'm currently on the board, and I've been on the board of one other organization. Most effectively, I think we as a board do our job when we listen to the people in the community. That is, where we get our direction from. We have an obligation to work on behalf of the membership and homeowners. We one thing is my life at work is spent in public disclosure. So that is something that drives a lot of what I think and what I see and how I look at things. And I believe that we have an obligation as an HOA to publicly disclose certain documents, and that I would like to see codified, organized, and provided in a way that people can access the documents and the whatever decisions they're looking for. The other thing I would say is follow the money. Where does the money go? How does the money come in? You need to know about how the money works. When there is too much given to a certain project, and what happens if there's more left over, how we collect our dues, where that money gets applied. I learned a lot about where the money goes being here through this budget cycle. The important thing for being on this HOA is that we really work on behalf of the community. I have part of our natural resources. We are eligible for grants throughout the county if we protect our space and our water. And I would like to see us access those grants. Planting native trees, we can receive money for that. And so we can take that burden off the homeowners and make it a grant situation. There's a lot of opportunities.
Asia, name 3 things you feel you would really like to accomplish as a board director at SBCA. Fostering a larger sense of community, updating and repairing our current amenities and utilizing them for more community-based events and activities. Better communication between the residents and the board. I mean, these are redundant a little and repetitive because I think these issues they're still there. So I hope to bring and tackle them with a fresh set of eyes and an unbiased perspective.
Tara Devoe. My question is, when you are a board director, how might you approach building more collaboration and consensus both on the BOD and in the community? One of the first things and the complaints I've heard is answering emails, and I'm a little OCD about emails now. I'm a school counselor. I get a lot of emails, but I answer every single one of them. Every phone call comes in. I've never had a complaint of not returning an email or a phone call for parents, because I think communication is key for any community or any business, or for me in a school. I'll always answer email, even if it's, I'll get back to you, because I will be a new board director. I might have to find out the answer, but something I will learn along the way too. If you have the question, as you will get the answer, I'll go learn it. And I'll find out what I can. Building collaboration is when you're on the board, you're going to have different of opinions. No one's ever going to agree. We're humans. We're never all going to agree on the same thing. And that's okay. When you have two different viewpoints coming together and meeting in the middle, that's where the best ideas come up. When you have two extremes and you come together and there's just something in the middle and you listen to what the other person says, you might learn something. What else did I say? So basically at all the board meetings, taking notes, listening to what people have to say, what they're bringing to the board, what concerns the community. That's why we serve on the board, is to serve the community. And, you know, I think that'll bring people together when they know that we're going to listen and try to do what the majority of the people want and what's best for the community. And then when you can't do something, let people know. Don't ignore them. Let them know, hey, you know, we really looked into this, but it's just not something that we can do as an association. But letting people know why, if you can't do it. So just communication with people, the emails, the phone calls, and having events where people can come together and just say what's on their mind.
Okay, next up is Nancy.
Hi, I'm Nancy Allianat, and my question is, why do service clubs have to pay for meeting rooms? And why don't we have a senior center? The first part, I really don't know why. I've never thought about it. There must have been a reason why fees were instituted, or maybe nobody thought about it. They're just in there. So I'm sorry, I really can't give you an answer. As far as why we don't have a senior center, we do. It's now the library. The library was originally the adult center, and it has the pool behind it that was called the adult pool, and then it became the quiet pool. Originally, the library was in Barn 7. It was set up. The promise was, oh, this won't cost anything to the members. It was set up by the board at the time. We did not vote on it, but it wasn't going to cost, so there wasn't a whole lot of disagreement. It turned out there was probably $100,000 in that build out through a grant. And it had powder post beetles, had to be torn down. It was operational for less than a year. And that's why the Barn 7 Foundation sat there for so long, almost 7 years, before it was finally torn out just a few weeks ago, thanks to this board. After that, the library moved in to the adult center, and we lost it as a gathering place and a senior center. The other buildings that could have been used for it, or building, would have been the rotunda, but we lost that because it wasn't maintained. The money to maintain it built out the gym.
Thank you, Nancy. That was your time limit. Next up is Kate.
This is Deborah Kate Quigg. My question is from a member, and the question is, what do you see as the highest and best use of the new 1850 building to bring the best benefit to our homeowners? That's a very good question. Thank you for submitting that. I have personally thought about that, and since the staff is now in the building, my hopes is that they are open to having homeowners come in and directly be able to talk to someone directly about their questions and to get their questions answered. I see it also as a place for extra parking. I personally like to walk around Lake Louise, and a lot of times the parking lot is full. So maybe if we could use that while we're walking around Lake Louise would be nice. Other than that, I hope that if the community has suggestions for the property, that they would submit that to the board and they would be taken under consideration. Thank you for your question. Aloha.
Hi, Lori Robinson, and I have a question from the membership. Which committee are you interested in chairing, and what qualifications do you bring to that committee? Well, my first and obvious answer would be finance, because I have a background in finance. But actually, I would like to be chair of the architectural control committee. Do I have any experience? No, I mean, I redesigned my house. I decorated it. I want to redesign my daughter's house. I just enjoy it. I think it's something new. And my fear would be in the finance committee is I would just go with what I know. I wouldn't have as open a mind as I would chairing a committee that I had to work at to learn what I'm chairing. Is that the best decision? I don't know. But as the chair, I'm just chairing the committee. I have there'd be a whole committee of knowledgeable people that would help me and I could help them and, give a whole new look on something new in my life.
Thank you. All right, so we have now exhausted the questions submitted by the community. So I'm going to use questions that I prepared in the event that this occurred. So for equity, I would like each of the candidates to answer the same question. And after I give you the question, I would like to give the audience and the candidates a 2-minute break so they can stand up after sitting there being grilled for an hour, and everyone else can stand up and take a breath. And then at 2 minutes, we'll ask our timekeeper to ring the bell and we can all return to the question and answer. But first, the question: what is the single quality or capability that you would bring to being a member of the board of directors that you feel the community should know about so that they can make their decision on the election? Okay, so what is the single quality or capability that you as an individual bring to the work of the board of directors that you feel the community should know about so that they can make a good decision in November? Okay, so that's the question, and we're going to start our 2-minute break right now. Can you tell? 12. We're back at it. All right, everyone, that was our 2-minute bell. That was the shortest 2 minutes ever. Almost like that, indeed, yes. So as an additional quirk, I'm going to ask that the mic be sent down, or actually we have a mic down here. So we're going to reverse the order. But I will talk for another 10 or 15 seconds so that poor Lori has a moment to compose herself. So remember, this question is being answered by all of the candidates for the board of directors, and we are asking them to identify the single quality or capability that they would bring to their work that they would like the community to know about so that they can make a good decision when voting. Okay, so this was really the opportunity to hear what's important to the candidates and what they would like the community to know about them. One thing. Go ahead, Lori.
Okay, Lori Robinson. My one quality I think that would stand out would be my ability to problem solve and organize. And I do believe those two go hand in hand. I problem solve and organize every day. You know, I worked for a real estate company. We were in 5 states when I started. Eventually, I opened us up in every single state. And I will tell you, I did not know what it took to open up a real estate company along with payroll in Iowa. I'd never been to Iowa, never worked in Iowa, but I found out what I needed to do to open in Iowa. And I did that with all 50 states. Organization, a must. In what I do now in my post-retirement career, organization and problem solving, a must. You're stuck in Munich, how do you get home? I can figure that out. And it's something I strive for and I love doing. So I think my best quality would be my ability to organize and problem solve.
Okay, next, since we're going in reversed order, is Deborah Kate Quigg.
Thank you for that question. I think I'd like to go with the capability answer, and that would be my 25 years plus experience in property management in the largest real estate company in Hawaii that was involved with multiple HOAs, gave me the knowledge of how different HOAs worked and functioned, and the rules, different bylaws and covenants they had with different subdivisions. And I think that that would help extremely on the board. Thank you for that question.
Nancy?
Yeah, I was trained as a scientist, and I am very information and data focused. I always go with where the data sends me. I don't like the answer I get sometimes, but I always honor what I see. And I think rather than dealing with wishful thinking or anything else, that's the way to solve your problems. Thank you.
Nancy?
Hi, I'm Tara Devoe. I'm a school counselor, so one of my biggest things is listening to people and hearing what they're saying and what their needs are. So that's my biggest thing to bring to the board is actually listening to people and trying to get issues resolved that come my way because I'm a taskmaster too. If something is put before me, I tend to have to get it done in a timely manner. So yeah, my biggest quality is listening to people and hearing what they're really saying.
Asia Andrade here. I'd say my single quality is open-mindedness. I come here to be fair, to hear both, all the sides. I want to learn. I'm eager to learn. I know I have a lot to learn. I don't have any agenda. I don't know many people. I have no previous bad taste in my mouth. I think, we just need to be a little more open-minded, and I feel like I would bring that.
Hi, my name is Morgan. I believe my single quality that I bring, besides my open-mindedness, is my compassion and my ability to listen. In my work life, I see people sometimes in their most vulnerable and their devastating circumstances that would not wish on anyone. And most importantly, respond to their concerns with compassion. And that ability to listen, I would carry through as a board director to all of you, that I would listen to your concerns and I would do my very best to implement those things which you felt were important, or at least bring them to awareness, because this is our home. We are all passionate about it, and we all have needs. What's important to you may not be important to me, but it's no less important.
Hi, Linda Bradley. The quality I bring is probably longevity. I've been on a lot of boards. I've worked for Sudden Valley. There's a process that needs to take place within the association. And sometimes that gets altered a little bit. Right now, my main concern is with a lot of our recorded documents that are official documents of our association that really aren't being held up to court. So I guess that's what I bring to the association, to have the board follow the processes they should with dealing with the business of the association.
Andrew Tischletter, the core value that I bring to the table is my professional experience as a civil engineer and project manager. I have a very solid understanding of what it takes to maintain roadways and the drainage, what it takes to, conceptualize projects, design projects, permit projects, construct them. I bring lots of cost estimating and working for the county. I also deal with a lot of these same processes that, we are governed under and operate under. And so that's what I bring to the table.
Stu Mitchell. That was loud. Sorry about that. So my single best quality that I'd bring to the board is my ability to lead through cooperation, collaboration, bringing diverse groups together. I've been doing it for about 40 years. I'm really good at it. I can take all opinions, make people, or not make people, but have people come to a consensus to where we can move forward and be a great community.
Hi, Andy again. I have over 20 years in the online space, currently as a web architect, but previously in online marketing, project management, content management. We have a very specific need with our website, and I have the capabilities from top to bottom to put together a plan to make our website better. I have the ability to get the data, to analyze the data, and to put together a plan on how to improve content and to improve the overall structure of the website. Not only the the theme of the website, the look and feel, but how to improve content iteratively, so it's not a big ask from staff, but so that we can make some small incremental improvements that at the end of the year, we can measure against and report on. So that's the capability I bring.
Thank you. Candidates, I'm going to offer you one more of my filler questions for the last round. And here it is. It's a little harder than the other question. The question is, please share an example from your past that demonstrates to the community how you work as a member of a team. Okay. So not what you plan to do necessarily, but something that demonstrates your ability to work as a member of a team. And again, we're going to give the candidates some grace here, and we're going to give them 2 minutes to think about their answer. Oh, right to left. So we need the mic then. Okay. So remember, the question is, candidates, please share an experience from your past that demonstrates how you work as a member of a team. Lori?
This is a very difficult one. I have lots of experiences working on teams. I've been most of the time spent as team leader, but I'm going to go rogue on this one. I think the most humbling experience I've had working as a team has come on the edge of a natural disaster. Fortunately, this hasn't been in the past, 18 years, but earthquakes follow me. I've been in 2 earthquakes over 7.0. The first one in Monterey, California, and that's one during the World Series, and then again in Northridge. And when you are thrown into a situation that you had no time to plan for, you have no choice but to work as a team. And everyone on that team needs to be very humble. You pull upon each team member to use their strengths, to organize, to plan, to rescue, to provide food and shelter for those around you, many of which you've never even met before. So I think those experiences have really taught me that you can't predict what's going to happen and that you have to be able to think on the spot to find out who in your team has the best resources to provide the best, the best whatever you need. And I think those two experiences, and both times, one's with my husband, we had to evacuate a building. And in another one, get cars out of the garage. What do you do with your kids? Roads are dropping. It's a very stressful situation. So teamwork under a stressful situation, I think, prepares you for just about anything.
Thank you, Lori. Next, we'll go to Kate. Kate, you're up.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. This is Deborah, Kate Quigg. What comes to mind is in our time in Hawaii, we belonged to a church that was located along the ocean, and we had many visitors come. We had a lot of different activities that needed to serve the community, such as when COVID hit, there was a lot of people that needed to have food. And so people would volunteer, to go get food and to provide it at the church. When you work alongside people that have a heart for taking care of their community, it's such a blessing to be able to do that. And I really learned what a servant's heart was during that time and several other instances at the church, whether it be, cleaning the bathrooms or, sweeping the church out or any kind of activity that needed to be done. And I'm glad to have had that opportunity to work with many people and to serve the group there, as I hope to serve our community here at Sun Valley. Thank you.
Thank you. Nancy?
Yes, I'll give you a recent example because some of my early year teams take too much background explanation. And that's the N&E committee. Over the past year, 3 of us worked together as a team, Steve Workman, Michael Wordsworth, and myself. We started by getting the N&E manual redone and approved, and then we immediately got blindsided by mystery petitions, totally disorganized. How can you even count signatures in that mess? We worked out a way to get consistent answers. And I credit Steve Workman with that effort. Then we got thrown into an SGM, an election, and managed to get that all done on time by the skin of our teeth. We met deadlines. And we had a short break before the AGM cranked up, which we're in now. So yes, that was a team. Unfortunately, we started with 3, we're down to 2, thanks to the troll farm over on Facebook. Took away one of our members, Steve, which I greatly miss him. And I'm not on Facebook and never will be. Thank you.
Hi, Tara Devoe. I work on a team weekly, and this is education stuff, but we come together weekly to meet about kids. And as a team, we bring data to the table on each kid's, what interventions have happened with the kid, and to see if they can qualify for what we try interventions with them if their behavior or academic. And then there's things that they're called 504s. They're a federal document that give kids accommodations. And then there's individual education plans for special education kids. And we gather a lot of data and bring it to the table and work as a team to decide if that kid qualifies for a 504 or qualifies to be evaluated for an individual education plan. And so that is a team decision. We have parents come in as part of the team when their kid is qualifying for the reasons, what's their diagnosis, their disability to qualify them. And then we also work with the teachers and have team meetings with them so that it is a large group of people coming together to make the educational decision for individual students. So it's a big team, lots of data, lots of research, and lots of interventions for the kids, but we work together.
Hi, Asia Andrade. I can't think of a specific example, but I worked 12 years as an office manager and a sales assistant to a sales team. So I coordinated team meetings and budget meetings and planned travel and traveled with the whole team and coordinated all the meetings to corporate with them. And I feel like that was a lot of team team effort. So thank
Hi, I'm Morgan Levy. Prior to my life in public service, I worked for a semiconductor manufacturing firm in Northern California. And my role was to collect data on patents. And I had to design the database and collect all our patent information. You know anything about patents? It's, what is it for? How long does it last? And during the time at my job, I sat in the same desk for 7 years and worked for 5 different companies. That's how many times we were bought and sold. And during that time, every time we had a sale, we had to prepare documentation for the income, for the purchase, right? What are you buying? You're buying patents. And I had to provide all my data. So I had to attend engineering meetings. If you've ever been to a meeting with an engineer, say no more. Working diligently towards a goal got diverse personalities together to provide the incoming buyer and the incoming management with the information that they needed. And I did that through data analysis and listening to people what they needed.
Hi, Linda Bradley. I was going to use N&E as a team, but I thought of something else. One of the greatest pleasures I ever had in this place was back, I want to say around 2014, a board member by the name of Ben Brigham got a measure passed to buy new equipment for the parks, for the community center down here, for Huckleberry Park, and for Maple Leaf Park. Along with the people that came from the companies to get us started, a crew of all volunteers worked and installed each one of those parks. I worked at that time and used to come home and go down there and work until we didn't have light anymore. And that's probably one of the most rewarding things I've ever given back to the
So I work on a team every day at work. As a project manager, I'm essentially the team lead for all of our projects. And so a big methodology of which how I like to operate. I do my best to try to check ego at the door and, try to make sure that enough people are looking at the problem that we're trying to solve to make sure we come to the best solution possible. I also have to kind of manage people that I don't actually have direct authority over. So it takes a lot of collaboration to work with people, to have them do things for, my project, even though I'm not their boss. And so there's a collaborative effort constantly going on in that regard. And, we have lots of different people who in our office who have different areas of expertise. So there's this constant process of, where I need to know at least enough to manage the people who have those areas of expertise, but relying on those people to provide me the information that I need to make the best decision for our project.
Stu Mitchell. So I run actually own a surgical device company. So I work with teams every day. I bring teams together for all sorts of things, but that's not the example I'm going to give. Because teamwork's actually really important. Another thing that I love to do, and that is a Cascade bike ride leader. So we go out as groups to train 20 to 30 people at a time to do long distance riding for events like the Seattle to Portland or the Seattle to Vancouver, BC type of rides. One particular occasion, me and 3 other ride leaders were taking a group of about 35 people out on a long ride. And we left it and we ended up in Snohomish. And there's one area where you come down this hill, it's a busy street. You have to cross railroad tracks. Well, as we were riding across there, one of the riders went down. I took out 2 other riders. So between us ride leaders, we had to, one, stop traffic, organize what was going to happen with the injured riders, and get the other riders to safety because it's a very busy street. And that's an example of teamwork where people have to work together to solve a real life situation in a real hurry. Otherwise, more people would have been injured.
Hi, Andy again. At work, the last 5-6 years, I was the kind of lead coder on what we work on our website. The expert on that platform, in charge of assigning tickets, code review, mentoring, teaching. And then after a merger, when we started using a different platform, the script flipped and I was the new guy. So part of that team, my goal was to quickly come up and then help the rest of my team learn as well from the point of view of someone who knows both platforms. And it took a little bit because it's learning a new language. But eventually I'm now in the same place where I'm doing code review and handing out tickets and assigning things among the greater team at large. And now we are a much more cohesive team, despite coming from 2 different companies, because of, again, like AJ was talking about, that you've got a bunch of people that you work with that you aren't your direct reports, but yet you have some influence. You've got to get them to work with you to do what needs to be done, and collaborate with them. And yeah.
All right. For the last round, I would ask candidates to give a short answer to fill in the blank in this sentence. Vote for me because. Okay, so we only have 15 minutes, candidates. So I'm going to ask you just to go with it. Your gut, fill in the blank, vote for me because.
Lori Robinson. Vote for me because I think I have the ability to do a really good job and represent the community on this board.
Thank you. Deborah Kate Quigg.
Vote for me because people say I am kind.
Thank you. Nancy Alyanak.
Yeah, vote for me because I will support the work that this board, present board, has been doing and see that it is carried through.
Vote for me because I believe Sudden Valley board members must take the time to acquire the skills to understand the budget, manage the association's finances, deal with disputes, brainstorm ideas, and listen to memberships. And I will do all of that for you.
Asia Andrade, and I want to say, vote for me because I want to fix what's broken.
Hi, Morgan again. I would say vote for me because I will listen to you and I will do the good work and the hard work that it takes to put forth the vision that this board has and that you as a community have in protecting Sudden Valley and making it the place we all know it can be.
Hi, Linda Bradley. Vote for me because I think I have something to still contribute to the community. A lot of it is going back to process that somehow I feel in the last few years has become broken, that I think needs to be restored again. And I think it'll make us all better. I think we need to listen to the members better. I think we need to communicate better. And I think we need to be more transparent.
Andrew Tischletter, vote for me because I bring a relevant and useful professional skill set to the table that can help the community in multiple facets and to continue the hard work that's gone into refurbishing many of the things that have been neglected over the years.
Stu Mitchell, vote for me because I think the community is the biggest asset that Sudden Valley has. I think diversity is a good thing, and I've been doing it for 40 years, and I can bring people together to get things done and run the community the way that the community wants it run.
Andy Glover, vote for me because people use our website and it needs to be better.
Thank you, candidates. Thank you, members, for coming today and participating in this forum. I really think we should applaud everyone, all the candidates. They have worked really hard. It's not easy to be answering questions for 2 hours in front of a bunch of people and know that you're even worse being videotaped for posterity. So they all get kudos from me. I want to let everyone know that there is a second candidate forum planned for next Saturday. That forum will be virtual, so please plan to attend via Zoom. And we will ask that forum to be almost completely dependent on questions submitted by the members. So if members don't participate in that forum, there will be no questions. There will be no Joanne ad-libbing questions to ask the poor beleaguered candidates. Okay, so please do let people know about that forum. There's information on the website. And we'd love to hear you ask those questions and give the candidates another chance to meet you and present who they are and what they bring. That's a great question, Gail. The process that we want to use will be simply to implement the Q&A facility that's part of the webinar, and that allows each member to submit a question or multiple questions, and then it will be managed by the host of the webinar behind the scenes, and the questions will be transcribed from that Q&A feature and then randomly selected to give to candidates, just like we were doing here today. So hopefully there'll be a throughput of questions, and then we'll keep cycling them in till the candidates get the opportunity to answer them. Okay, so that's in the moment in that webinar. So you could prepare your questions that you'd like to ask the candidates in advance and be ready to type them in, but that's the way that we'll manage that second forum. Okay. Awesome. Well, that concludes our program for today. We do have one quick announcement.
Speaking of next Saturday, it will be Daffy Day here in Sudden Valley. On Daffy Day, Saturday 10 to 2 at the library, we will be giving out free daffodil bulbs for community members to take out and plant
in their own yard if they want, or any of the common areas. And then next spring, it'll be beautiful. And remember, deer don't eat daffodils. Also, Garden Club will meet Tuesday at 2 o'clock in the library. Thank you.
All right, everyone. Thanks again for your participation.